build up their really fast attacks. That's a good ball. It's not looking at some extension. Quite close ball, and Haaland might have wanted to have risked everything. He just dived in.
He keeping up. You can see in his face.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Gunjuru News Online for another update of daily COVID-19 update. Today my topic is COVID-19 and mental health. But before that, as usual, I'll give you the statistics about COVID-19 and we'll move from there. So, as you are all aware, this COVID-19 first emerged in the world scene in December 2019. And since then, number of infections stands over 5,639,998 infections we have total, and out of that 349,392 deaths. That's about a mortality rate of about 7%. And for any kind of virus, this is a very, very high mortality rate. Yes, there are viruses, even there are some coronas. We have far more deadly mortality rate than this COVID-19, like the MASH, which appeared in Saudi Arabia in 2012. That one have a death rate of about 37%. That's the highest. And also the fourth corona pandemic in these decades, which is called SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, which again appeared in China and South Korea in 2002. That one have a death rate of about 10%. So the number of people recovered so far is 2,406,838 had COVID-19 and they recovered from the illness. And this recovered population, that is going to be very, very useful in the treatment, in the future treatment, and also understanding of COVID-19. For example, right now, there are about 114 different type of vaccination under development, and 4 of them already in clinical trial. When I'm in clinical trial, they are already testing these on human beings. 1 in the UK, 2 in America, 5, 2 in China, and also 1 in Germany, Denmark, and Poland. They're sharing one vaccination they are testing. So far, number of people currently infected with COVID-19 is 2,833,768. And out of that 2,830,576, that's 98% of the total number of new infections are in mild conditions. And in mild condition, I mean these are the group that some of them are not even showing any sign of symptoms. They only knew they are infected because of contact tracing and also followed by subsequent tests. Number of people with severe or critically ill condition with COVID-19 is 53,192. And these critical condition patients are the ones that are overwhelming intensive care units. And right now, Brazil is leading the world in terms of critically ill. In fact, in terms of new numbers, they just overtake Russia now. So Brazil now is the second most affected country in the whole world. This is as a result of the indifference of their president, who is still defiant. He thinks more emphasis should be given to the economy rather than COVID-19 pandemic, which is really, really, really weird. We've all seen Donald Trump. He was very casual about COVID-19 initially, but when reality finally hit home, he buckled down, he took it seriously. But that's not this Brazilian president. He's still defiant. He still called it little flu, even though his country, the number of people, the number of deaths is just unprecedented. They're overwhelmed. Okay, so now I'm going to read to you the countries, top 10 most affected countries in the world with COVID-19. You know, so far 213 countries are affected with COVID-19, with two conveyances, that I mean with two cruise ships or military warships, you know. And so far, past 24 hours across the world, 59,731 new cases are registered, and out of that, 1,779 deaths. And past 24 hours, US recorded 7,428 new cases and 259 deaths. Brazil recorded 1,042 new cases and 84 deaths. And Russia recorded 8,915 new cases and 174 deaths. Spain, the figures for Spain are not yet out, but UK recorded 4,443 new cases and 134 deaths. Italy recorded 397 new cases and 97 deaths. Italy is definitely getting over this pandemic. Germany recorded 305 new cases, 21 deaths, and Turkey recorded 947 and 28 deaths. And India, another country that is still yet to reach the peak, they recorded 5,789 new cases and 177 deaths. Iran recorded 1,787 and 57 deaths. So now countries that that surround Gambia or very close to Gambia, because we are surrounded by Senegal in both sides, numbers continue to escalate in these countries. Like past 24 hours, Senegal recorded 31 new cases. This is a massive reduction, I have to admit. But so far, Senegal recorded 3,161 cases, and Guinea-Conakry recorded 3,275 cases so far. Ivory Coast recorded 2,423 cases so far. Mali 1,772, and Guinea-Bissau 1,147 cases so far, and Sierra Leone 754. Burkina Faso recorded 832, and Gambia 25 cases so far. So West Africa was predicted to peak around June, July, and we are on course with those numbers, with the number of new cases being recorded. But the good news about Africa in general, not only West Africa, the death rate is far, far, far below world average, and even the infection rate is far below world average. That's a good news, because we don't just have the capacity to be able to handle if these pandemic continue to escalate in our settings. So I'm going right down to today's topic, which is COVID-19 and the mental health pandemic. Um, we all know human beings are not designed to sit at one place, and human beings are not designed to just take in bad information day in, day out, without no good news. It's not just, we are not just wired to withstand it. So as a result, in countries where they take records and they report records, which is not very common in Africa. They record everything and they report everything. So the number of mental health issues across the Western world, that is Europe and America and South America, just continue to escalate. And this is directly linked to the strict lockdown rules, which many countries now are easing them up. So as the news about the corona outbreak continue to dominate the headlines, and millions of people in the US and the world over are being asked to self-quarantine, and it has become increasingly significant to pay as much attention to our mental health as we do to our physical health. You will agree with me that lot of emphasis is being put into our physical health, while our mental health is not getting much look in. So, but hopefully these should change. Well, it's changing anyway. Like if we've been following news headlines like the New York Governor Cuomo, who is leading in terms of leadership, proper leadership, best probably leadership in the Western world. He provide a lot of mental health experts to help this community, the health committee, and also the general public in New York City. Over about 9,000 mental health experts, which he consulted and put them on standby so they can help the general public. So pandemics are the one we are currently grappling with often ignite fear, anxiety, and erratic behaviors. We all know now we are getting used to it, which is a good news, but it's also a bad news because if we got used to it, the fear factor is gone. People might become complacent, and this will help the disease to spread far easily. So, but it's natural when people are faced with this kind of pandemic. Of course, people have to have a fear. Like a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are struggling to put food on the table. They have to rely on food banks and also hand out from other people. This insecurity all have a negative impact on our mental well-being. So the fear, the anxiety, and these influence our behavior. So recently, you see a lot of erratic behaviors, the suicide rates, the divorce rate, and a lot of mental health associated issues are really on the increase. Both in the West and also in the developing countries. So naturally, when fear takes control, both our nervous system and the emotional part of our brain go into overdrive. When you are fear, your brain never rests. You go to bed, you can't sleep. You are at work, you can't concentrate. You are in meetings, you can concentrate. Fear can do that to us. So these are kind of response. Our brains, revert to during a severe fear or in these kind of situations. This response can lead to impulsiveness, panic, and feeling out of control emotionally. People start behaving erratically, behaviors that they are not used to. So as I say, this kind of fear can lead to impulsiveness, panic, and feeling out of control emotionally. And if a person has a pre-existing mental health illness or history with anxiety and depression, it can often worsen. So, and intensely during times such as this. Even people without no history of mental health issues, situation like that, it can test all of us. But much more people with pre-existing mental health condition or people who suffer from a bout of depression, these kind of situation can make it really hard. And also people, suffering under for old age, like old people also, this can be challenging time mentally. So if the stress and anxiety worsen, then it may trigger negative physical symptoms such as elevated heart rate, insomnia and digestive issues, weakness, and generally fatigue. So generally, human being, if we don't have a peace of mind, we cannot sleep well. And if you don't sleep well, your anxiety level increase, and these can directly affect our physical health as well, because if you are not relaxed, if you are stressed, your heart rate will be increased, and these can lead to blood hypertension and also heart conditions. And also, if your mind is not relaxed, you are suffering from anxiety, you cannot sleep, you go to bed, you cannot sleep. And if you don't sleep, we know these have lot of issues. It can even affect your diet, your weight, and a lot of things. So, and also even our mental health can affect our digestive issues. It can help make us um, not be able to digest the food we eat properly, and this can lead to other symptoms, with our guts and all that. And people who are suffering from anxiety or mental health issues, they tend to be weaker and they feel tired. Like, of course, if you don't sleep, you feel tired, you feel fatigued the whole day, and restlessness. So mental health and its importance during the COVID-19 pandemic, we're coming to discuss. So if you've been feeling anxious, frustrated, angry, or downright confused lately, know that you are not alone. We are all in this together. Very few people, a lot of people are struggling right now. Not even going to your normal job on daily basis alone is a very big strain. Mental state. Even though these are some of the things we take them for granted when everything is well, but times like this, a lot of people are feeling anxious. What's going to happen 1 month, 2 month, 3 month down the line. People, you look at the news, people are losing their job in numbers. Could the next one be you? Or you've already lost your job? What's going to happen? Companies are going down, and the chances of employment is disappearing on daily basis. These can take a toll on all our mental health being. So, it's natural if you feel frustrated or angry or downright confused lately. Know that you are not alone. Don't despair. There are a lot of people feeling the same. So the best we could do is to reach out, to our psychologists, to reach out to family members, to reach out to friends, to reach out to our employers, and open your heart to them, discuss what is affecting you, but it's not advisable to sit it there on your own and take it all in. So within weeks, the family symptom of mental illness can become universal reality. These things, if you take them for granted, they can develop into full-blown mental health breakdown. Yes. As a new poll from Kesa Family Foundation found, nearly half of the respondents saying that their mental health was being hampered by the corona pandemics. Yeah, this was a research recently conducted by Kesa Family. This is a psychological charity who help people with mental health issues. They conducted a research, and most of the respondents, actually responded that this pandemic, is taking a toll on their mental health. So as I said earlier, if you are suffering from mental health issues, these days you are not on your own. It's a common thing, and we're calling on government and people in authority to invest, to actually pay attention to the general populace and to come up with solutions. You know. Nearly everyone on this planet is experiencing varying degrees of grief, panic, hopelessness, and paralyzing fear. That is a fact. So I don't think anybody can tell you, well, this pandemic have no effect on them. You know it or not, everybody is affected one way or the other. And these are mental health issues. Either you are not going to work for a leave, which you don't know when you should go back, or you lose your job because of this pandemic, or a friend lost their job, or a family member or a friend, who lost their job, or in fact they are infected, and you know, a family who might be grieving because they lose a family member. So everybody is affected one way or the other. So mental health issue in this kind of pandemic is a real issue, and I hope African countries are also paying particular attention to this, because right now, even though our numbers are not as great, which is a good news, but we are struggling already with the physical illness, much more the mental health side of things. So I hope they will um, invest, they will pay a particular attention to mental health issues. In fact, that's the purpose of this presentation today, to draw the attention of our leaders to also not to pay all their attention on only the physical health of the populations. So if you say now you are terrified, you are, the most common response you will get is what sensible person is it? Yeah, it's natural. If you terrified, you are worried. That's normal. You know, everybody is. We are all human at the end of the day. So, but what response can cause us to lose sight of the dangerous secondary crisis unfolding alongside the more obvious one? An escalation in both short-term um, and long-term clinical mental illness that may endure for decades after the pandemic recedes. You know, when everyone else experiencing depression and anxiety, real clinical mental illness can get erased. You know, yeah, we are right now in the middle of a pandemic, no doubt about that. But the symptoms we are all suffering can get really worse after you know, this pandemic receded. You know, that's the worry of most of the health departments. So when everyone else is experiencing depression and anxiety, real and clinical mental illness can get erased. Yeah, that is a fact, right? Right now, we might, in fact, be forgetting people with real mental health illness because everybody is mentally tested. So that is putting those with real mental illness before COVID-19. It can make us forget, and it can make those downplay their situation, and that's not a good thing. So the unequal treatment of the two kind of health, like physical over mental, is frighteningly similar with our society currently described for psychological stability. This is a general problem. Even the West, who I mentioned, more pay more attention to mental health as well as the physical health, but the disparity is great. We all tend to be worried about what the COVID-19 does to our lungs and the death rates we are seeing on daily basis from our hospitals, you know. But yeah, but we can't just ignore, you know, the mental health effect these have on the general populations. So insurance also, if you look at the insurance, does not offer real uniformity of coverage and treatment for mood disorder, generating into, you know, a luxury item. You know, even in the insurance, you know, everybody tend to pay attention more on our physical health than the mental health. In fact, to cover someone or oneself for mental health is considered in most community as a luxury item, which is also, you know, a bad thing. So, given the fact that we are facing a dual crisis of both physical and mental health, those facing psychiatric challenges deserve both acknowledgement and treatment. We just cannot face people with psychiatric illness because everybody is suffering from mental illness. Because, of course, we know the underinvestment in the mental health sector is across the world. It's not only Africa. Africa probably is, you know, it's almost non-existent. If it is there, it's depleted, and it's not given the attention it deserves. But these are the time when we should all be, you know, be paying particular attention to people with real psychiatric challenges, and also we have to acknowledge their issues and also treat them. You know, there are roughly four responses to coronavirus crisis and the social isolations. when I'm coming to read to you, people during this pandemic, we reacted to this pandemic differently, and there are four categories. So some people take it all in their stride and rely on foundation of unshakable stability, and others constitute the worried well who need only a bit of psychological first aid. Yeah, there are people are different. There are people who are mentally strong, nothing face them, they are hardly affected by anything. They take it in their strides. So we hope we are all in this group, but not many people can consider themselves to be part of this group. And the third group, who have not previously experienced these disorders, are being catapulted into them. So we have the people with real psychiatric illness, and we have the third group. They are in between. Before the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, they go to slide down to full-blown psychiatric illness. And last, many who were already suffering from major depression disorders have had their condition exacerbated, developing what clinicians call double depressions, in which a persistent depressive disorder is overlaid with an episode of unbearable pain. Like right now we have this pandemic, but before the pandemic, this particular guy or lady has a psychiatric issue, and this pandemic can only make it worse. That's what the psychiatric will describe as double depressions. So these can be really, really painful, and I hope our societies, our healthcare providers pay particular attention to this. In social isolation, generally generate at least as much escalation of mental illness as those fears of the virus itself. You know, you will not believe we all fear COVID-19. Nobody want to have COVID-19, but the isolation, like be on your own, with your immediate family 24/7, these can cause more damage than the fear of virus itself. It's really bad. Human beings are not designed to be confined to one places. So and it's not uncommon. People on incarcerations in prisons, tend to suffer these kind of psychological issues. And according to quote from Joan Hall, these psychologists have found that isolation is twice as harmful to person's physical health as obesity. Could you imagine? Obesity is now known to be one of major health issues crisis. But you will not believe self isolation can be detrimental to our physical health twice more than obesity. Could you imagine that? So yeah, we go run, we jog, we go to the gym just to keep our weight on the healthy condition. So that's why it's also important, to go out there and isolate. Unfortunately, now there are conditions that we cannot go out and isolate and socialize as we wish. And according to research by psychologists, this isolation is twice as harmful to our physical health as obesity. So, for example, solitary confinement in prison system cause panic attacks and hallucinations, and among other symptoms. That means those are not the only two symptoms people in isolated prison systems suffer, but there are other issues. But one of these major issues they use so far is panic attacks and hallucinations. So isolation also can make people more vulnerable to the disease it's intended to stay. For example, we have been isolated, so that we don't go out and spread COVID-19, or we don't go out and catch COVID-19. But in actual fact, this isolation can cause us more damage than the chances of catching COVID-19. So researchers have determined that a lonely person's immune system responds differently to fighting viruses, so making them more likely to develop an illness. I mentioned this in my previous presentations. Fear, if you are depressed, your immune system also is depressed. And a depressed immune system cannot go out and fight illness like people with robust immune systems. So this is a big issue. We have to pay particular attention to our mental health or our mood. If you feel too moody or you feel you are depressed, you have to call the helplines. I know most developed countries, they have these call helplines where you can call and report your condition to them, and they come very, very handy this time of the in these kind of situations. So in order to improve our mental and emotional well, there are a few handy strategies to help you during these times. That is, I will encourage everyone to limit their exposure to the news and to customize their social media feeds. You know, if you sit there looking at these news, there is very, very few good news coming out of these, either in the social media or the TV outlets. So the best thing, once you listen to the news in the morning, you know, go and do something you like doing, reading, you know, indoor exercise and all that. But you know, gluing to your TV, you know, taking all these bad news in the whole day can really have serious implication on your mental health. So our brain is built to solve problems. That is their number one problem. And when you are already feeling fearful, it's natural to seek a stimuli in your external environment to reinforce the feeling of fear. Because without fear, we can't, you know, get away from the danger. So basically, if you are fearful, your brain goes to this siege mode of increasing that fear mode and make sure you maintain alert and all that. So the brain then deletes, distorts, and generalize all incoming information that does not align with your current emotional state or belief. For example, you know, if you are in a state of fear, the good news and your brain just cast them and throw them away. So the best thing to do is to get rid of that fear away. That is to keep away from all this bad information that may happen. So thank you all once again, our fellow esteemed viewers from Good Online. We are continuing this conversation tomorrow again on different topic, and I will announce that before I come on air. Inshallah, by Friday we should start our history and conversation with Dr. Esa Toure of University of the Gambia. Inshallah, we've been working on that for a while, but we couldn't get it going until very recently. But inshallah, it should start soon. Thank you all for your time. We appreciate your time. Allah Barakah.
Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Staying fit is a combination of eating well and physical fitness. This you can easily find in Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. First, they will get you lose fat easily with amazing exercises. Build your muscles gradually. Fitness becomes fashion, so no pain, no gain. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. The way to prove yourself is to better yourself with the kinds of machines we have at Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. You will easily better yourself, like the rowing machine, leg curl machines, weight benches, rubber plates, double pulley machines, cross trainers, rubber dumbbells, multi-gym machines, and much more. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Remember, we have state-of-the-art changing rooms, toilets and showers for our esteemed clients, both ladies and gents. Different varieties of foods to aid your self-developments of muscles and bones are available at reasonable prices. Regular beat training is also part of our periodic exercises. For more information, call 7171-998, 7171-998, Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 99.